Well, good morning, hope you're all doing well. So, I've got a bit of a change of plans today. I was going to head out to another location, another new one, but as it happens this morning, it's looking as though we've got low cloud. So, with that in mind, I'm going to head out and see if I can get some woodland shots with some kind of misty conditions. Now, where I live, I'm lucky enough to be close to some fells or hills, and if I spin you round, you'll be able to see what I'm looking at, and there's some low cloud and mist in amongst the trees, so we're going to head up there and see what we can find. So I've come up onto the fell side here, and I've come back to a familiar friend, which is this tree, and I've photographed this numerous times, and I'm always drawn back to it to see what it looks like in different conditions. And today it's at the moment we've got this cloud which is kind of moving through, and at the minute I've got a kind of break in that low cloud, so it's not working too well for me here. So I think I'm going to have a scout around this whole area and see if I can find something completely new. Now, I do love coming back to this because it's one of those scenes that when you keep repeating it, you get a different perspective, a different point of view, and it's nice to get those different varying weather conditions and see what the image actually looks like. But with that in mind, I think I'm going to give this one a miss today. I'm going to keep going, see if I can make my way further across, because we are starting to get a little bit of autumn colour up here. And the whole reason why I've pivoted today is because when I looked at the weather forecast, I was actually going to go and investigate another castle, and it's about an hour away from here. And when I looked at the weather forecast, it was similar conditions, so it's not going to do for me what I want to for the image, because I'm imagining sort of dark brooding skies above this particular castle. So this sort of mist and low cloud isn't really going to work for me. So I've just moved away from that completely, and I thought, right, well, I'm going to use the conditions I've got, which is basically low cloud, and see what I can make of that. So I'm going to have a little bit of an explore around this area. We're going to make our way a bit further across, see if I can find some more trees to work with, and maybe come back to this one later if conditions allow. Now, in true landscape fashion, the clouds all buggered off. So, I'm going to have to, we've still got atmospheric conditions, which is something, I guess. So I'm still going to make the most of that, and we've still got, epic trees like this. They're just beautiful looking trees. This is a rowan tree, which is obviously got a couple of dead limbs falling off it, and I think it's a really nice scene. So I'm going to try and make something of this. Now, obviously, it would be nice to have those foggy conditions and the cloud coming in and out of here, and it might still happen because I can see it's still a way out there, but obviously we've got a break in the weather at the minute, so fingers crossed it starts to come back through again. But I'm going to get a scene set up here and see if I can make something of this while I've found it, and make the most of it. Right, so if I just show you the scene I've got set up now, what you'll see is I've taken a strip pano, because what the problem I've got is if I open this frame up now, if I open it up to a 4x3 for example, you'll see I've got all that sky in up there, and the sky's doing nothing for this shot whatsoever. And to be honest with you, most of the interest is in the middle to the lower section of this tree anyway. So if I go back to my settings now and reduce that back down to my pano, you'll see this scene I've got set up here. And what I've done is, the reason why I've got the tree in the middle is because you've got those two branches. One's broken one way, one's broken the other way. And I wanted to try and get both of those in the same shot if possible. So what I've ended up with is the tree in the kind of more central to the middle of the frame there. We've got all of this bracken in the lower section of the image, and the gorse bushes, which just add that little. The only thing I don't really like about this frame, and there's no way I can really move myself any other way to get rid of it, is if you look in that top left corner, you'll see that there's a bit of kind of darkness in that top left corner, and that's where you can see a bit of the mist and the fog in the background there, and there's not quite enough of it to kind of do anything with. So I may have to kind of clone that out and get rid of that, because it might end up being a little bit too distracting. However, what I'm still hoping for is a bit more of this low cloud to start and haze to start moving through and give me a bit of atmosphere here. So fingers crossed we kind of get that. But you'll see I've got my focus point, which is just kind of on the main trunk of the tree itself, in the middle of the frame there. I'm just going to adjust it actually, so that it's just on that lower third. Settings really simple. There's barely any wind again, so I can don't have to really worry about shutter speed so much, because I think there's very little even moving. There might be the odd bit of bracken, which I'm not too concerned about because you're not going to see it really close anyway. So I want to try and maintain base ISO if possible. So take that focus point there. So at the minute I'm at f16 ISO 100 at an eighth of a second, and that's stop under at that. I mean, I may raise the ISO just in case this breeze or the slight wind that there is does affect anything, so I'll take a couple of shots just in case, because the worst thing you can do is take that shot thinking, it's no problem, and then you get back and there's too much movement in it. So with that in mind, I'll take a couple of shots at different shutter speeds just to be on the safe side, but I think I'll be all right. Just going to grab this shot now, and what I've actually been waiting for is behind you guys where I'm filming there. That's where the sun is, and every now and then as the cloud sweeps through, a little gap opens up and it starts to illuminate the trunk of the tree, and it's got a really nice feel about it. Not only that, but if you look back there as well, and in amongst it there's the red berries of the rowan, and that just adds that little splash and pop of colour to it as well. So just going to grab another one of those shots, and I'm just going to wait around, hopefully till we get a little bit more atmosphere. So now we have that first shot done and out of the way, I can explore this area a whole lot more. And what I really love about these conditions is, especially days like this, although you don't have kind of one specific condition to work with, light's quite fleeting. So you get moments where the light's going in and out on the fell sides, hitting the trees. So it allows you to stay out all day and photograph the whole day. You don't have to wait for those perfect moments of light in the morning or in the evening. You can stay out all day and still find things to photograph. So I'm going to carry on exploring, see what else we can find, and I'll catch up with you in a little while. Now I've just circled round from that last tree up there. That's where I photographed first, and I've come right the way around the hillside there, and I've just found this little scene down here. And what's drawing me to it is these rowan trees down here. Got loads of berries on, the nice and vivid splashes of colour, and then just behind that you've got some birch trees which are just starting to get those hints of gold now. And then you've got the little wall down the bottom there as well, and I think it'll make a really nice pano shot. So I'm going to get set up and see what I can make of that, but I think it really will work if I can especially if I can get a bit of this sunlight, which is over in this direction up here. If that starts to illuminate and give me a little bit of side light down here, it could work really nicely. So hopefully what you'll be able to see now, you'll be able to see where my focus point is. I've got this strip pano set up, and you can see that there's that big rowan tree off to the right there, and then there's another one off to the left to kind of help balance it up, and then in the middle, just in the background, we've got another one, and then we've got the birch trees up here. So if I just tilt you up here, you should be able to just see the scene in front of me there. So that's the big tree off here, and then we've got the other one over here. And then what I'm doing is cropping it down, because obviously I don't want all this sky up here creeping into the frame. My main focal point is that strip of trees, so that's why I'm using that pano there, just to get rid of any sky, any distractions, And yeah, simple enough shot, but I think it's going to work really nicely. But it's definitely going to be a case of just waiting for the right light just to creep in from the side here. You can just see my position. That's where the sun is, just where that other tree is where I photographed up there. So every now and then it just pokes through, and then hopefully we'll get a shot that works. And again, I think if we just swing you around this way, you can see there's more of this low cloud coming in, so hopefully we're at a decent enough height so we get some of that low cloud coming through and at least give me a little bit of atmosphere back there. That would be really nice. So as you can probably see, we've lost all the light now. So I think it could be a case of returning tomorrow and seeing what we get then. I've got a couple of shots that I was really quite like. We'll see how they turn out, but they look nice. But yeah, the conditions have just changed. We've just got high cloud now. It's gone from that really low cloud to high cloud. So apart from the fleeting light, I haven't got a great deal. I mean, this might change again this afternoon, so I can keep an eye on it and maybe play it by ear then. But yeah, definitely a case of just keeping an eye on the weather and see if it changes. So, went and had a bit of lunch, came back out, and I've pivoted again because the weather's changed and we've got more texture in clouds and everything now. I thought I'd head out and try for some landscape shots and to a little area of wood I haven't been to before. Go on, missus, off you go. So yes, I've got permission to be on this bit of land because I've wanted to photograph back towards the fells for quite some time, so I thought I'd take this opportunity while the conditions have changed to go and do that. So I think this is important, and an important thing to note actually is not to give up straight away and pivot, change your plans. If one thing's not working, change it and go and do something else. Don't waste your time. Like I could have packed it in today and come back out tomorrow, but thought, no, I'm going to change my plans again and find something that works for me now. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to head across here and see what we can find, eh? So I've made my way down over the fields, and the reason for it is I've passed this scene a million times and I've never ever been able to make sense of it or make it work, and that's the case sometimes. Sometimes an image doesn't translate that well from what you've seen in person to actually the final image, and that's what I've always struggled with this one here. The scene itself is beautiful, and it's always beautiful when I come over the top of the hill back over that way, but I could never make sense of it. So I've come further down with the hope of making something out of it, and that is this range of fells in the background there, and then there's a hill, well, some more fells off to the left, but I'm not going to get it all in unless I do a full pano. Now I may try both. I'm going to try the pano format in camera first and see how much I can get out of that. But it's my home village, so my village is nestled in amongst where those farm buildings are back that way, and it's always good to get a nice image of where you live, and I've struggled and struggled with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a pano format straight out of camera, taking in the fells there, obviously waiting for the light and waiting for a bit more cloud cover because I don't want blue skies above it. I want to make it look more dramatic than that. So there's plenty of texture and detail in those clouds that I can use now. I'm going to grab a shot with that pano, as I say, and then I might take a full pano sweeping from one end of the fells back to the other side and see if I can make sense of that one. So after looking at that scene, I'm still not happy with it. I think it's just going to be my nemesis to try and get this to work. As I say, it's a beautiful scene that I think looks great. It just doesn't translate for me. Anyway, you've got to carry on, haven't you? You've got to keep going and hopefully it'll turn out one day. But if it doesn't, well, so be it. I'll just keep trying. So I actually hung around and put the long lens on and just decided to go handheld and take some close-up shots. And I managed to take a really nice shot with a square crop, actually, of that tree that I'd been shooting off in the distance there, using the cows as foreground. Now, I also waited around until sunset and waited for some weather patterns to come through. And obviously I got a right soaking, but it was really worth it because I got some really nice shots. And I think I actually managed to capture a shot of the fells that I really quite like.